first let me tell you how we're going to handle this. Regardless of how many minutes you were told you actually get 3 minutes. Is that possible? Can people do this? Because what's going to happen is that everybody gets equal time, 3 minutes. And I know I seem so nice and just cheery up here. Not when it comes to the 3 minutes, okay? So you get 3 minutes, and then we move on to the next person. And it's really because we want everybody to have equal time. That's really important to us. So I won't try to be the mean guy, but I can be. I really can be. Ask any student. So we're going to start in, let me see if I can figure out if we're doing this in alphabetical order, or I could have you just race up here. Why don't the candidates start by who's furthest away? Oh, you have? Oh, okay, well, tell me who's first. You are actually listed up here, so I am not being biased at all by who we're calling up. Okay. I can't see it from here, but you can see. So please come on up, and when you start talking, we're going to start the 3-minute timer. Emil? Oh, Emil. I'll have my watch, and that 3 minutes is going to help you up there. So, is somebody ready to hit the 3-minute button? You are.
So is the official time your watch or that?
No, it's that. You watch that, but I'm going to make sure that they're right. That's my job, is to make sure they're right. Thank you. Please.
Good evening. My name is Jamil Ahmad, and I'm running for Congress in the 1st Congressional District. I'm running because I believe that military aid to Israel violates our Constitution's separation of church and state. Israel is a country that discriminates against people based on their religion. Representative Bonamici has voted for multiple bills which characterize Israel as a religious state, yet she has also voted for over $52 billion of military aid to Israel. Most recently, she's voted for, 25 days ago, a standalone $14 billion military aid package to Israel. We cannot trust individuals which fund inequality abroad to deliver equality at home. Inequality kills, both abroad and at home. For example, Alton Sterling was killed in Baton Rouge by police officers as he was selling counterfeit CDs outside of a convenience store. Alton and I both were born and raised in Baton Rouge. We were the same age. Why is it that he made a living by selling counterfeit CDs while I made a living working in the semiconductor industry? Part of the answer is inequality. It's within the role of government to address inequality. Federal funds for K through 12, higher education, and other programs must be contingent on closing inequalities. Metrics must be created for equality, targets must be set, and funding recipients must be required to meet them. This is a difficult task, but I believe it can be done. I believe because I used to live in Georgia's 5th Congressional District, and there's a ballot that I cast that I'll never forget. On the upper right was John Lewis, on the upper left was Barack Obama. Rather, somebody who was beaten in Selma, Alabama lived to be on the same ballot as the first minority president. And I believe that if we can do that, we can do anything. Thank you.
Okay, let's see who's next. Honestly, Rachel, here? Oh, there we go. Okay. I'm bad with names, so I apologize. I'm an MC who can't say people's names. I know, it's an oxymoron. Thank you.
Thank you. So I have a little bit of a prepared statement here. Hello, my name is Rachel Lydia Rand. I'm a jazz trombonist, multi-instrumentalist, composer, and software engineer. I've been running my website .trombone for .trombone.com for 25 years. I'm going to try to keep this short tonight. In order to fight climate change and the inevitable end of oil, a substance which we use to pave our roads and shingle our houses and make thousands of other products, I'm suggesting that we drop our population rather rapidly by asking Generation Z to have just one child for every 2 women. That would create a glut of housing and put us into an entirely different economic system. I'm also suggesting we give up the rat race, work as little as possible, work from home when possible, and drive cars a lot less than we are now. Human activity causes climate change. If we want to stop emissions from going up, we should do it with my proposals rather than building up a wind, solar, and battery economy to support 10 billion people. I'm suggesting we play sports in our parks and music in our homes instead of running the rat race. So, I can't prove that climate change is a problem. We hear a lot about it, this rat race culture to me is pretty insane. I'm a bicyclist, commuter, and biking in a sea of cars it just seems so wasteful in this country and all. But we're kind of a democracy here, and people ask for what they want, and we get represented that way. But it seems like Mother Nature doesn't really have a vote in this system. I don't know. I can't prove this, but that's what I'm running on. I think. Drawing, it's like oil, we separate it in all these layers, and part of it gets to pave the roads, and part of it gets to make products, part of it is jet fuel, and part of it is gasoline in our cars. If we make electric cars and start using the gasoline and all, then and we keep the other products up to this level, then what do we do with all the gasoline then? We're gonna have to burn it or put it back in the ground, which probably isn't a good idea. So we hear a lot about that in the news, or at least I do. So if we just draw down everything evenly and reduce our population, then it seems like we can make a difference here and get our population down to 2 billion by 2099 if we keep up this rate for 40 years. I've been reading that our population was 2 billion back in 1950, and it makes sense that we would reverse course like this. I'm Rachel Lydia Rand. I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
And Eddie's next. Oh, yeah. Oh, no problem. Oh, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
Good evening. All right, is it evening? Yeah, it's evening. And congratulations to all of you honorees tonight. You all deserve it. My name is Eddie Morales, and I'm a Gresham City Councilor. I'm in my 6th year on the City Council there. I'm a small business owner, and I'm on the board of Planned Parenthood. I serve as the secretary of that board. But my story really starts with my mother, who came to this country in the trunk of a car, and my 8 siblings who came to this country in the backseat of strangers' cars. And my mother did that because she wanted something better for us. And here in this district where I'm running, I went to elementary school at King, I went to Tubman Middle School, and I graduated from Marshall High School. I'm a product of the public education system here. I attended the University of Oregon. Go Ducks, go Beavers. Yeah. And I learned about organizing there 25 years ago when a group of farm worker women approached me and said that they weren't getting paid fair wages and that their working conditions were horrible. And they reminded me a lot of the women that I grew up around. And so I organized a boycott, and we won. And I remember thinking, if undocumented farm worker women in this country can demand something better in their jobs and get it, then every person in this country could demand something better for themselves and get it. And I dedicated the last 25 years of my life to working on that. In Oregon, I've lost a sister 4 years ago to opioid addiction and alcoholism. I've lost 2 brothers to gun violence. And those things have led me to really prioritizing reducing crime and violence in our communities. Those also have encouraged me to work on on healthcare, and I helped work on the Affordable Care Act and the DREAM Act. And I moved back to Oregon after a 13-year career in DC when my mother passed away. My mother went to be with my dying grandmother and got a 10-year ban and died 3 months before she was allowed back. Those are the things that have motivated me every single day to get up and work hard. And those are the policies that I've been able to champion. I started an organization called East County Rising. When I moved back, we've recruited 59 people to run for office, and 50 of them have gotten elected because we believe in a representative democracy. So the east side of this county looks much more like the people that live there. I'm running for this position to keep the work that I've been doing on the council going. We've reduced gun violence by 30% by doing innovative public policy. And we've built multi-generational housing so families can live together with the supportive services that they need. This is what our communities need now. I hope that you will learn more about me on my website at eddiemorales.com, and I really want to be respectful of the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, come on up.
This up. All right, my name is Nolan Bilinga. I'm a master's student at Portland State University. There's a lot going on at Portland State right now, as you could tell. But as you know, we live in a world filled with poverty, with sickness, war, and more. Too many people still are crushed by the weight of inequity. And you and I both know that there is a lot still to be done to make the world the place that we know that it can be. What a lot of people don't realize about running for office to try to make that change is that it takes courage to do that. So I commend every single candidate that's decided to stand up and run. That courage, having moral courage, I believe is one of the rarest commodities that there are in the world. And it might perhaps be the rarest commodity of all. And just to run for Congress, you know, it takes that kind of courage. You risk family, friends, you know, your reputation, relationships, perhaps persecution, hate, and more whenever you speak out about a topic that you care about. And today, right now, we see a lot of young people, myself being a student at Portland State, they're trying their best to have their voices heard in the best ways that they know how. They've taken up the rarest commodity, which is that moral courage to speak up about injustice. Another value that I have is faith. And the truth is that running for office, like so many of us are doing, it takes faith. I believe that faith the size of a mustard seed can move a mountain. And it's that faith to do the impossible, that you can do anything that you set your mind to, including changing the world. And a lot of people, the truth is that most people won't have the opportunity to shake and move mountains. But even just the smallest little deed, you know, the smallest thing, helping out somebody next to you, if we all do those kind of things, then together we will change the world. And that's what I believe. I believe that we have a new generation of young people that, as I said, they have faith, they have that moral courage, they have energy, they have devotion like we've never seen before. And I think that we should let those folks lead us to what many would say is the promised land, trying to make America the place that we believe it can be, a city on a hill, a moral authority to the world, and in my opinion, the greatest nation there is on the planet. I tell a lot of young people, don't be afraid to speak the truth. And we got to do that with compassion and kindness and love, and that sums up pretty much my views on things and where I stand and what I'm trying to do.
Thank you. Michael. I'll leave that pie. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. During this primary, those who hold power have incorrectly and disappointedly told voters that there are 3 choices for their next District 3 congressman. While Eddie, Maxine, and Sushila are amazing public servants, they're not the only choice. And moreover, they may not be the best fit. This process of narrowing candidates for the voting public is both outdated and somewhat nonsensical. It premises viability on the amount of money raised and on the number of endorsements that come from electeds. Those are great endorsements, those are to be respected, but those 2 qualifiers do not judge a person's viability to hold office in Congress. The narrowing of candidates is also offensive to the community leaders who have endorsed folks like myself, and it's offensive to people who want to be involved with politics and have a barrier to entry based on being well-connected politically, being independently wealthy, or being endorsed by others who are coming off of office like they are. The truth is that I'm potentially the most viable of the bunch, whatever the hell, excuse my language, the word viable means. I'm a small business attorney with an executive MBA. I'm a small business owner and nonprofit volunteer. Through Rational Unicorn Legal Services, a law firm that I built from scratch, I help thousands of small businesses, nonprofits, and creatives. Last year, I was chosen by the Portland Business Journal as one of their 40 under 40 honorees. I was also chosen by the SBA, the Small Business Administration of the United States, as the Small Business Champion of the Year for the state of Oregon. The point of highlighting these awards is to tell you that I'm the guy that gets into structures that exist, says we're not doing the things like we did them, and then gets to work. You see, this is a job application which hasn't been open since 1996. We're not asking the tough questions. We're not asking who will build a unique congressional office that is equitable, modern, and efficient. Who knows not just the progressive issues, who actually knows the industries that are in this district? Who has the ability to hold corporate CEOs accountable, big ag and big pharma, and who will survive the halls of DC with negotiation and mediation skills? So I'm more than viable, and I'm ready to be your congressman. And if you don't believe that, I'm gonna give you a couple of quotes from folks. I'm running out of time. Here's one. Michael has shown up as a strong supporter for the Black community every time he was asked without ever once asking for anything in return. He's shown up to support the Black business community. That's from the executive director of the Black American Business Chamber.
Thank you so much. Ricardo? I'm tough. If it goes negative, I feel bad. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We're talking about issues in Congressional 3rd District and moving forward. I'm beyond humble to be invited here to speak about my values and what I envision for Oregon 3rd District and our nation. First, I want to say congratulations to Xavier on all his success. You're a true role model for everyone, but also go Ducks, respectfully. Ever since I started running, I always wanted to speak from the heart. And I remember watching Barack Obama in 2004 at the Democratic National Convention. I'm like, wow, who's this young character speaking just so powerful? 2012, Julian Castro, another minority speaking at the convention. I'm like, wow, if they can do it, I can do it. I witnessed a lot of things in my life, and I've always asked the question, why are things happening? I've always heard the answer, it's always been done that way. Those are the most dangerous words we can use in America. It's always been done that way. I see a lot of problems in Portland. We need the next person elected to Congress to revive the city. We see what's happening across downtown, the homeless issues, drugs issues, small businesses closing. We need someone to revive this city for what it used to be, the city of roses. We need to have people believe in our city again to say, this is my home. Imagine having progressive values and ideas that we can push forward to the next generation to 20, 30, 40 years. I thank Representative Blumenthal for doing a great job. Now, I feel my politics, my progressive issues can lead us moving forward. Imagine having Oregon solving a homeless crisis issue that we can solve for America. The homeless crisis issue is not a Portland issue, it's a country issue. Imagine healthcare being more affordable. What I mean by that is eliminating deductibles. Imagine having preventative services free. If you're a healthier person, that lowers the cost of everything. Imagine solving the immigration crisis. A lot of things that we can do, but unless we have a true progressive leader who's passionate about making positive change in the district, in the city, and the country, that's how we'll move forward. Lastly, I want to thank my mom for actually believing in me. I wasn't the smartest kid growing up. I wasn't bright. I tried hard. I graduated from University of Portland. I graduated from Portland State because I never gave up, and I won't give up now. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so sorry for not being able to pronounce the name. Is she here? Maybe then it's Jamie then. You're next, Jamie. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jamie McLeod-Skinner, and I currently serve you all on the Oregon Watershed Enhancement Board, and I'm running to serve you in Congress in the 5th Congressional District, which extends from the Selwood Bridge to Sun River. Thanks to the League of Minority Voters and to Promise King for all of your work. It's always an honor to participate in this event, and appreciate the honorees and having received an award before. This is really an opportunity for us to gather together to build stronger and healthier communities, because these are truly challenging times with the divisiveness we're seeing around us at the state level, at the national level. And the League offers the sense of hope on our ability to really work together and making that our focus, because this is a time for hope and for opportunity. And to work in partnership on these issues, because regardless of party affiliation, we all want to be able to put a roof over our head and food on our table. We want opportunities for our kids. We want health care for our families when they're sick. We want safe communities. We don't want our family farms going under. And we don't want our homes to burn down. And I can tell you from having led wildfire recovery, when a wildfire is coming through an area, it doesn't check party affiliation when it's destroying homes. We are truly all in this together. My focus is on protecting our democracy and our fundamental rights, including the right to vote, which is such a key discussion point here tonight, and also reproductive health care, but also the right to seek justice when those who are sexually assaulted. These are all fundamental rights. Stewardship of our environment, our health, our economy, it's part of our identity very much as Oregonians. And then also helping people struggling to get by, whether it's working people or seniors or students, families. There's so many Oregonians who are struggling right now on issues of affordable housing and healthcare and childcare, education, and retirement with dignity. These are the challenges that we need to be working on. It's also about being accountable to Oregonians. I'm proud in that I don't take corporate PAC money, because it's about being accountable to the people that you serve, because that's how we build safe, healthy, and equitable communities. I've used my experience as an engineer, an attorney, and small business owner to get stuff done, to bridge the urban-rural divide, which is really challenging us so much, creating so much of the division that we're seeing. In my 12 years of elected office experience in urban and rural areas, that's what I focused on, is bringing people together to get stuff done. I've worked in wildfire and drought recovery and affordable housing and education, natural resource management. JamieForOregon.com is my website for more information. But it's really about coming together, because I believe that the greatness of our nation is that we are founded not on a common bloodline, but on common beliefs in democracy, in freedom, in justice. That's what makes us Americans. And that's the vision that if we work together, we can work together to achieve. That's our shared future. So my name is Jamie McLeod-Skinner, and I would greatly appreciate your support. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. First of all, promise, thank you so much to the League of Minority Voters. Thank you for this opportunity. Everyone that's here within the sound of my voice. Thank you. So good to make new friends and to greet old friends. My name is James Ivory Manning Jr. I am the senator from Senate District 7, which is in Lane County, North and West Eugene, to the beautiful city of Bonita. I am also the current Senate President Pro Tem in my second concurrent term. First time I ran for President Pro Tem, I was elected on a bipartisan vote. Last year when I ran for re-election, I was elected by the body unanimously. So that even goes to show you that all of my colleagues have a degree of respect and trust in me. So why am I here? I am running to restore trust and integrity to the office of Secretary of State. I am here to defend democracy and preserve vote by mail. I am here to protect our elections workers, make sure that every ballot is counted and all of the data is secure. I'm also here because I will not sell or vote to sell anything that has to do with our public lands, our waterways, or our public forests. I think those are things that need to be preserved for generations yet to come. As E-Web Commissioner, Nestle came to our meeting, my former E-Web Commissioner, and they offered, or they were trying to purchase water rights on the McKenzie River. And I said, well, let me see if I understand this. You want us to sell you our water rights so you can sell it back to us. That was a non-starter for me. I voted no, and my colleagues all got with me, and we voted no because Nestle, those natural resources belong to future generations yet to come. As Secretary of State, you need someone that's going to stand up and be honest and forthright and make sure that you understand what their values are. I will not use my position to gain pleasure nor profit, nor will I jeopardize my moral courage. These are values that are necessary to make sure that you have the right person that's in the right place that represents you and not me or not themselves. This job is too important for that. I have been in the Senate for 8 years, and in my time there, I have passed over 124 measures. That is fantastic in itself. But what's more important, universal health care. I worked on it for 7 years. Oregon is now on pace to have the first state in the nation to have a universal health care single-payer system. We have a governance board that's just been appointed, Senate Bill 1089. Thank you for your support.
People must be getting scared because they're like right on the zero. I skipped over Andrea Salinas, who sent us a video because she couldn't be here today, but she knew that it was important to talk to you. So I want to go ahead and, are we going to, no, we're not? Oh, okay, well, so we're going to work on getting access to it. But know that she sent us a video because you're very important to talk to. So we're going to move on to James for now. There you are.
I'm Jim Crary, and I'm running for a very specific reason, and that is to empower every registered voter in Oregon in a way that they've never been empowered before. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to add a new tab to the Secretary of State's website. And with this new tab, any registered voter will be able to ask questions of any or all of the candidates that they can vote for. You know what? It'll be as easy as taking your smartphone and asking a question. You won't have to come and sit and listen to a bunch of people and try to remember who said what, because it'll all be in writing. So voters will be able to ask questions 24/7. They're going to be candidates are going to be actually able to give well thought out and detailed answers to voters' questions. Questions and answers will be in writing, so they're going to be open for everybody to see. After the election, the answers, the questions and answers will be archived. So in the future, you can go back and say, hey, you said this 4 years ago, what happened? Voters are going to be able to make a decision on who to vote for based not upon simple name recognition or in response to some negative radio or TV ad, but instead based upon which candidate gave the best answers to the questions that the voters had. Candidates would be forced to finally run campaigns that are responsive, interactive, informative, educational, substantive, and something that actually voters will feel empowered by. People running for office are, in effect, applying for a job. And what I am proposing with this new website is that just like every other job applicant, candidates will be interviewed by their prospective employers. In this case, that's the voters. Candidates ask us for our votes, they ask us for our money. We certainly should be able to ask them what their plans are if they get elected. This website is going to actually help candidates who would rather spend more time answering voter questions instead of dialing for dollars. Just think, if voters voted for the people that had the best answers to the voters' questions, we'd get a lot more people in elected office that are going to solve problems. My motto is question power and those who seek it. I'm Jim Crary. I'm running for Secretary of State. Thanks so much.
Thank you. It looks like we have the video ready to go.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you to the League of Minority Voters for inviting me to participate in this important forum and share my vision for a better, more inclusive future for all Oregonians. I'm honored to be one of the first Latinas elected to Congress from Oregon. And as the daughter of an immigrant myself, I know just how much our immigrant, BIPOC, and tribal communities contribute to America's success. Experts now predict that people of color will make up the majority of our nation's workforce by 2032. But with that growth comes immense responsibility. We have to make sure that BIPOC and tribal communities actually see and feel the benefits of their labor, whether it's removing barriers to affordable housing, healthcare, and education, or investing in solutions that will reduce the impacts of climate change and pollution. We need policies that will give every American the same opportunity to thrive, no matter the color of their skin or where they were born. Throughout my first term, I've been fighting hard to make that a reality. I've championed bills that would increase access to mental health care for BIPOC and tribal youth, ensure pregnant women can get health care that they deserve, and expand career technical education to help minority students find good paying jobs. I've made environmental justice a priority as we transition to a clean energy economy, pushing for more investments in affordable solar, wind, and clean energy. And I've also been working to right the wrongs of history when it comes to our Indigenous communities. I support legislation that would address the crisis of missing and murdered Indigenous women, and I even got a bill signed into law that restores land claims and compensation rights for the Grand Ronde tribe. This is just the tip of the iceberg. We can and must do more to level the playing field for communities of color. I'm running for Congress because I believe change can happen in a single generation, but we have to work for it, and only if everyone has an equal opportunity to succeed. I intend to keep up the fight, and I hope to earn your vote. Thank you. Good evening.
That was only 2 minutes, just FYI. So let's see who's next. It's a surprise. Okay, Jack, it looks like. Is Jack here? Yeah, okay. Oh, okay, sorry, we went past Gale. You didn't have a picture? Oh, there you go, sorry. Would you just take a seat right here and we'll call you up in just a second. Yes. We'll have Dave go so that we have all the Secretary of State candidates first, so my apologies. Dave, thank you for, correcting that mistake. I appreciate it. I will give you -1 second on the clock.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here amongst these honorees and this distinguished group. I'm Dave Stauffer. I'm a candidate for Secretary of State. I'm the environmental candidate. The Secretary of State by ORS Chapter 814 is also the chair of the Board of Sustainability and Environment. And I am the only candidate that has 5 solutions to Oregon's environmental problems. What are environmental problems? Well, you can see them very clearly in Portland and in most of the other cities. We have a morning rush hour that takes like 2 hours and an evening rush hour where people go home that also takes 2 hours. I have a patented solution to that problem, and as the Secretary of State, I would work with the legislature and the president to solve that problem. I say the president because right now there's a $1.4 trillion bipartisan infrastructure law appropriation by the Congress for infrastructure for environmental solutions. There's also $700 billion in the Inflation Reduction Act. So now is a good time to be investing in rather large environmental solutions. So there's the traffic jams that all of us are plagued by in the morning and the evening. We burn up a lot of gas. It's expensive, and it takes a lot of time. A lot of people are spending 2 hours a day just sitting in their car driving. It's a big waste of time. I have a solution that can get them to work in about 10 minutes. It's a complicated solution. I won't go into it now since I only have a minute left, but I have that solution. You can find it on Dave Stauffer for Secretary of State. Another solution is that I can heat and air condition houses without burning fossil fuels. Most of us burn fuel oil or natural gas or coal or wood. I have a way of heating your house without burning any of those, and if you don't burn that, then you don't get the air pollution, the carbon dioxide going into the air, which the scientists tell us is bad for our environment. I can make it so that none of the houses in Oregon send that pollution into the air. I also have a solution for wave electricity and the wind power electricity.
-1.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff. Thank you. Your turn.
Surprise, surprise, I am not the man in the picture. So I'm just going to stand here for 3 minutes awkwardly and look at you folks while you wonder what the hell this man is doing up here.
Did I make a mistake?
No, you didn't. I am speaking on behalf of Jeff Goodman. He was not able to be here yet another event. I'm the campaign manager, and just again, thank you so much for inviting us. Xavier, your story is amazing. Appreciate it. Like Archimedes said, he said, give me a place to stand and a lever long enough and I'll move the world, and I believe you're going to do so, brother. So congrats to you. Can we give him a round of applause, please? Really, thank you so much for what you're doing. And I know a lot of you in here, you're educated voters. You've seen voters' pamphlets. You've seen endorsements. You've seen our opponent's platform and the great things she's done as a senator. You've seen all those things, and you see what our plan is and what our platform is in terms of Oregon's financial future. So all we ask is for you guys to look at the information, the truth, the facts, look at the data, look at who these two candidates are, and whatever decision you land on, Oregon's going to be okay. And we have to believe that we're voting for people that are going to do the right thing for the constituents of our state, because they matter, and we believe that they matter, and we have to believe that. Otherwise, we don't have people running for office. We don't have people sacrificing lots of money to take positions as a servant. It's a very, very important thing. And so we ask for you to vote. We ask you to vote for Jeff, and if you choose not to, we ask for you to support that candidate all throughout the election to the general, because it's very, very important, and we know that voter turnout, it needs to exceed expectations. Let's break records this year because it's important, okay? And again, thank you, Promise, for what you do. This is an amazing event. This is amazing, just giving back to people that may not have a place to stand, right? They say lift yourself up by your bootstraps, so sometimes people don't have any boots to pull themselves up by. So if we can be people that give other people boots to help themselves pull themselves up, let's be that, okay? And so my last 57 seconds, pull out your cards, give as much money as humanly possible to the League of Minority Voters. Thank you so much.
I would have given you 1 more minute for that, actually. Thank you.
Thank you. So good evening, everybody. I'm Elizabeth Steiner. I'm a lifelong Democrat. I'm a mom of 3, which is my favorite title. I'm a physician, a family doctor, and I'm a state senator, which is a position I've had the privilege of filling for 12 and a half years now. I first ran for office for the legislature to help Oregon be the healthiest state in the nation. I still believe that's true, and that's exactly why I'm running for treasurer. As a family physician, I have seen all too often how financial insecurity leads to poor physical and emotional health. And as treasurer, I will be focused on improving financial security for every Oregonian. As co-chair of the State Budget Committee, which I had the privilege of doing along with my colleague, now Speaker Rayfield, or was Speaker Rayfield, you'll hear from soon, we made enormous investments in healthcare. I was one of the co-chief sponsors of what was called Cover All People, but is now called Healthier Oregon, to help our undocumented neighbors get access to the Oregon Health Plan, which I thought was critically important for the well-being of this state. We helped pass the Basic Health Plan to help people who are moving out of poverty but still need some extra help getting health care to stay on the Oregon Health Plan. And at the same time as all these investments, we've grown our savings, and that's what we all need to be focused on. While we were doing this, we were doing it in consultation with our colleagues. Representative Sachez at the time was one of the representatives on the BIPOC caucus who worked with us along with Senator Frederick to get the BIPOC caucus priorities into our budget, because we knew it was important to have their voices at the table to make sure we've invested in those priorities. Throughout my career, I have made a point of collaborating with allies for the BIPOC community. For example, when I was working on legislation to raise the legal age for tobacco to 21, I worked closely with the Urban League because we know that communities of color are disproportionately targeted by the tobacco industry. And so it's very important to work with the allies who represent those communities to make sure we're doing these things the right way. The Oregon Treasurer is responsible for investing over $130 billion, with a B, dollars. That is not a trivial sum of money. I am the only candidate in this race with a statewide budget experience as co-chair of the Budget Committee for almost 6 years now, and a record of delivering for Oregonians across the entire state. One of the Treasurer's key responsibilities is protecting our retirement, improving financial health, increasing college access to the college savings plan so more kids get post-high school education. Doing all of these things will help increase financial security for every Oregonian and help Oregon be a healthier state. Thank you so much. Thank you.
There you are.
Thank you, Travis. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dan Rayfield. I'm running to become Oregon's next Attorney General. Oregon's facing a really unique set of challenges right now, from housing and homelessness to the addiction crisis that's sweeping across every community in this state. We also have a lot of unprecedented opportunities here in the state as well. I'm running to become Oregon's next Attorney General because I believe the Attorney General, the Department of Justice, with the right leadership that I will bring to the office, that the Department of Justice, the Attorney General, can be an indispensable partner to solve our community's greatest challenges. What I bring to this office is 18 years as a practicing attorney representing individuals against corporations, large companies, and others in pursuit of helping those folks when they are experiencing the most difficult and challenging times in their lives. When it comes to the legislature, I bring nearly 10 years of experience, 2 years as Oregon's Speaker of the House. I'm into this position because we know how to get things done. Under my tenure as Speaker of the Oregon House, we passed one of the most proactive and largest housing reform bills this state has ever seen. We passed sweeping reforms to help focus people in substance abuse to get treatment first as they are trying to get out of addiction. At the same time, we did this with building reputation of respect, a culture of respect, bringing people together, having transparency in a way that the Oregon House had not seen in the recent years. Oh, thank you again, Travis. I have a friend in this audience. Thank you. I appreciate it. With that, what else do I bring into this position, Travis? I also bring a different lens perspective in life. I struggled in life when I was younger. I didn't graduate school on time. I was arrested multiple times before I was 19. I got fired from jobs. But what I'm up here to tell you is that your worst moments in life don't have to define who you are. And that's the type of attorney general we need in this state. With that, what do we want to do in this office? The Attorney General's office, we need to expand our civil enforcement division. The work on behalf of seniors, the work on behalf of kids when they are impacted by predatory lending, when they're impacted by scams, the fly-by-night scams, whether they're timeshare scams, you name it, that come in and out of our communities. We can expand that work. We can expand the work to help build safer communities and work to tackle the drug delivery problems, partnering with law enforcement across this state. And then finally, we need to protect Oregon's values. When it comes to the environmental laws that we pass in our legislature, there are attacks nationally to actually roll back the laws here in our states. So when it comes to setting lower pollution controls in the EPA, those are attacks. We need an attorney general that's going to stand up to those. Thank you very much.
Shana? Thank you.
Good evening. Waiting on you, Travis. I'm Shana Maxey Pomerantz. I want to say thank you to Promise King and the League of Minority Voters and the distinguished guests and all of you. I'm running for Attorney General. For the past 8 years, I've been part of Race Talks. I'm currently the executive director, and the work that I do specifically is around anti-racism. And I did mention I'm also Donna's daughter. And wave your hand, Mom. She's a beautiful lady here. And she started Race Talks. And the work that we've been doing in community is under attack right now. Our civil rights are under attack. And at the time, no one was talking about these things. And I deem it very, very important that we have to fight for these things. Let me gather my thoughts for a minute. It's an emotional process that we're in right now. This is a political speech, but a lot of us are living this in real time. So we're talking about threats to voting. That impacts all of us. We're talking about the environment. That impacts all of us. Abortion has been big. I had an abortion, and most of the women I know have had one. And that's not an easy choice, but also healthcare access and treatment that we receive. My mom had a heart attack and cancer, and I had to advocate for her treatment. Part of being an attorney general is having access to community, and I really value that in the work that I do. So part of what I want to do as Attorney General is making sure that you all have a seat at my table. We have to create a pipeline of communication, because what's happening in Portland isn't necessarily what's happening throughout the rest of the state. Yes, we do need housing. Yes, we need food. We need safe communities. But the way that we're going about it may not be the same in every community. We also have issues around drugs and violence. I do believe in the Second Amendment, but I think gun access and safety is extremely important to have. As somebody who grew up with gun violence, who was also a school teacher, I think it's important that we have to have more regulation. I think the bad people often look like me and look like people of color in here. That's not always the bad people. And so we need to distinguish that the disparities that are occurring in our communities, that has to stop. So I'm gonna stop there. I got 10 seconds. You can check me out at shanaofthepeople.com, and I hope to earn your vote. Thank you.
Will? Will, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Will Lathrop, and thank you to the League of Minority Voters for having me here this evening. I'm sure what you all want to hear right now is another political talk. I'm sad to say this is the last one, I think, tonight. And I'm also your first chance tonight to see what a real, live, in-person Republican looks like. And I'm gonna save time afterwards. If you wanna come and just over here and just take a selfie with one, poke and prod it a little bit, see how they react. But in all seriousness, if you want to kind of learn more about me, I'm going to stick around and you can learn more. But I'm just going to say this, and I'll say it quickly. It is really no secret that Oregon is suffering from crime. People all across the state don't feel safe. And I've learned from I mean, it's in the media every day. And I've learned from my experience in law enforcement that the people who suffer most from crime are people living in underserved and marginalized groups. So when we fail to enforce the law, we fail to protect the people that need the law the most. I've spent my entire life, not my entire life, my entire adult life, my entire career, protecting people that are living on the margins from exploitation, abuse, and violence. I represent a dawn of a new leadership, a leadership that's going to be focused on enforcing the law, protecting people, and not politics. So I'll just give you my background real quick and what I hope to do. I was a prosecutor. I'm a long-time Oregonian, a sixth-generation Oregonian, but I started my law career as a prosecutor, and most of that time was spent as a child sex abuse prosecutor. I also prosecuted cases of domestic violence, homicide, adult sexual assault, and human trafficking, but most of my time in Oregon was focused on protecting children from violence. After that, I was recruited to Washington, D.C. to do that at the national level, and from Washington, D.C., I was hired to lead multinational teams in Africa. So for the last 8 years, I've been leading teams first in East Africa. I was working to protect widows from land violence, and then I was transferred over to West Africa, where I worked in conjunction with the U.S. State Department, UNICEF, and the Ghanaian government to rescue child trafficking victims and prosecute their traffickers. I've come back to Oregon because in the last 10 years, we have really started to struggle to protect people from violence, and like I said, the people that need that protection the most. And so as your next Attorney General, the Attorney General is the preeminent law enforcement officer. And as your next Attorney General, I'm going to enforce the law and protect people first. It is also the preeminent anti-corruption wing of government, and I'm going to hold corrupt officials accountable. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stand right over there, and if you want to take a picture with a Republican, if I had hair, it would be a better picture, but I am as God made me. So thank you so much, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Where? I have an extra person. No? Yeah? Do we have another? Do we have one more? Mike Schmidt? Is Mike Schmidt here? Oh, he's gone. Okay, well, it really was the last one. So we're going to move on to the honors here, and I'm going to have. Are you going to do the Selma Pierce? Yeah. Okay. So, well, why don't you stay here? We're going to start with our Selma Pierce Legacy Scholarship. Do you have the? You want to do the honors?
Yes. Where
is the student here?
What?
I don't have the name of the student. Sorry. We're missing a student to give the scholarship to. my gosh. You look so mature. I apologize. Promise, are we going to have him come on up? Okay. So please read what the Selma Pierce scholarship is all about. I will, it's probably too small. But Bud Pierce is not here. He typically provides this scholarship, and I think Promise is going to talk a little bit about that.
I wish I have $1 million I will give to this kid. Selma Pierce scholarship came about when our emeritus chair, Bud Pierce's wife, Selma, died. We wanted to really recognize and keep her legacy. And we said we're going to create a scholarship, and we did, to kids who are really from poor background, kids who have no way to pay for college, but rely on scholarship or community help. Tonight, we have a kid that were part of Jamaica Community College, and he's one of the students that they said really need a scholarship. And the scholarship is $2,000. And any of you can call us and contribute to that, because we will love to do more to as many students as we can. His name is Jorge Sachez Guerrero. Do I say it right? Come on down. Yeah. He's a little shy. He's a little nervous. Come on now, hold you and say your name. You're at home. You at home. Don't worry, I'll stay here with you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Josue Sanchez Guevara. I am a student from Jamaica Community College, and I'm about to transfer to Oregon State University. I'm also a volunteer with the CAMP program, and I'm also part of the TRIO program at Jamaica Community College. And I'm really grateful for all of you guys being here, and I'm also grateful for the scholarship and opportunity. Thank you. I'm majoring in business.
Oh.
Thank you.
As the Dean of the College of Business at Pacific, I encourage you all to tell all your children to explore business as a major. So, do we want to? Okay. So, before we head into our champions, which I know you're just waiting and waiting, but you know I'm actually right on time. Can you believe it? 8:05, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. drum major video. 8:03, it actually is. Let's play the video. I'm 2 minutes ahead.
If any of you around when I have to meet my day, I don't want a long funeral. And if you get somebody to deliver the eulogy, tell them not to talk too long. Tell them not to mention that I have a Nobel Peace Prize. That isn't important. I'd like somebody to mention that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to give his life serving others. I'd like for somebody to say that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to love somebody. I want you to be able to say that day that I did try to feed the hungry. I want you to be able to say that day that I did try in my life to clothe those who were naked. I want you to say on that day that I did try in my life to visit those who were in prison. I want you to say that I tried to love and serve humanity. Yes, if you want to say that I was a drum major, say that I was a drum major for justice. Say that I was a drum major for peace. I was a drum major for righteousness. And all of the other shallow things will not matter. Then my living will not be in vain.
That was so moving that the mic dropped. I mean, so we're going to get going with our champions, and Promise is going to introduce each one and tell you a little bit about these incredible people. But before you do, we're starting with our Lifetime Achievement Award. Is that right? Yeah. I just want to say, because you were, this is Barbara Roberts, who he's going to talk about, but I just want to say personally, you were like this amazing mentor type. I mean, you were the first woman governor in Oregon, and it meant so much to me. It meant so much to see a woman up there. It opened doors that I never thought would be available. I just want you to know that I feel like I'm here because of things that you did.
This is the best part of the program for me, the hardest part for me, because it get a little emotional. By the time I want to pat my chest and say I'm doing really good, and I remember these honorees and their stories and their inspiration and their lives, I think I haven't even started doing anything yet. I feel like a failure. And tonight, I will not be here without Barbara. Because when the idea of the league was conceived to bring both Republicans and Democrats together for great community good, I went to Republican and got a yes and amen. I went to Democrat and got some stories. Then I called Pete Bradbury, and he said, call Barbara. But I must advise you, I know you like to talk, Promise. When Barbara is in a stage with you, please do not go after her after she makes a speech. Either you speak in Swahili or speak any other language, because Barbara will destroy your career. Don't go after Barbara. As the case may be, we were invited to give eulogy to Bill Bradbury. It was me, Governor John Kitzenberg, and Governor Barbara Roberts, and some other guy. And it was Barbara Roberts speaking after me. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to do this because of what Bill said. I said, if I have to speak after Barbara, I will give my speech, my eulogy in Swahili and Farsi and Arabic. I let them translate my speech. And somehow Bill intervened, and I spoke after Governor Kitzenberg, right? This woman right here has been an inspiration to women. To men, has been a monument to mercy and merit, and has been somewhat a definition and manifestation of the politics of consensus that we talk about. So Barbara, on behalf of the board, on behalf of our communities, on behalf of those who believe in the B word, bipartisan word, we ask you to accept our award tonight. Thank you.
It's not that I'm not tall, it's just that I am short. So, my deepest thank you for this amazing honor from the Oregon League of Minority Voters. And I am doubly excited to be included with the evening's other honorees, admired political leaders, judicial talent, civic leadership, and even journalistic talent. Since the founding of this Oregon chapter in 2007, I think that's the right date, right? Yes. I have been both a fan and a supporter. Supporter means money. Promise King and his dedicated team of wonderful, wonderful people have remained focused from the beginning on their missions of inclusion, fairness, empowerment, and outreach. And I remain committed to their missions and goals. The future requires dedication, and it requires hard work. It takes way more than slogans. We have to remember that. Slogans are good, but they don't get the work done. It takes more. It is about believing, giving of our time and resources, remaining the strong voices for equity and fairness that we want to be. And tonight, this special honor you have given me has re-inspired me. I needed it. It was time, and thank you for that. I am back on the mission. I am back on the mission of your work and Oregon's future for equality. The mission belongs to all of us. You have my support, my deep thanks, and my promise to stay with the mission. Thank you so much.
If I was a Democrat, but I'm not, I would have hired my friend Governor Robert to run for president. Are you fired up? Ready to go? Okay. Our next honoree is one of our favorite, Senator Ron Wyden, who has always been about bipartisanship and has always come around, and I've always find a way to do voting through a bipartisan lens in ways that unite our aspirations for a vision of a nation we imagine together. Tonight, he couldn't make it, he stayed in DC, but he sent one of his senior staff to represent him tonight. So we'll call him together. Give her a round of applause.
Promise, thank you so much. My name is Grace Stratton. I'm one of Senator Wyden's field representatives. I've been in this role. Oh, thank you. Honored to be able to represent Senator Wyden at all times, but especially this evening. He couldn't join tonight because of votes in DC, but he asked that I come and read a statement on his behalf in appreciation for this evening. Dear friends, good evening. While I could not join you all in person, I wanted to express my sincere thanks to the League of Minority Voters awarding me the Voting Rights Champion Award. I have long fought to ensure that voting in our country is made easier for all Americans. That includes taking Oregon's proven vote-by-mail system national. I've also introduced the Poll Act that would ensure every voter can cast a ballot in 30 minutes instead of waiting in long lines at polling places that effectively suppress votes across the country. I also co-sponsored a bill that would restore voting rights for qualifying formerly incarcerated individuals. Now, while this work continues, I am grateful to the League of Minority Voters for continuing to advocate for voting rights here in Oregon and for educating voters. We know that previous generations of Americans knew when they fought for the right to vote that the sign of true democracy is when everyone gets to participate in our electoral process. I am truly honored to receive this award, and I thank you, League of Minority Voters, and all the partners here. Have a great evening. Thank you all.
the next award, we looked around the institution that is Oregon, and I come from a tribe. I'm not going to tell you and give you all the details, but we have a tribe nation here in Oregon. And we felt that they needed a voice, and we normally don't endorse or support any candidate, but when we heard that Tawna Sachez was running for a space in Oregon legislature, the board got together and said, because of some exigencies and because of a necessity and a moral justification for representation, we need to support someone who came from that tribe, has no voice in Salem. So we roll our sleeve and call some few folk, and the health of annoyance and eye of some people, we supported her and she got elected. Today in the legislature, the Native Americans, even though not as much, has a voice. So give a round of applause. Let me be very clear, we are bipartisan. We don't care of your politics. We don't really care of where you come from. But when you're a good human and you represent the best of our human spirit, we will shine light on you. Give that a round of applause. We are not fetching a need from that. We're not going back. We don't lean on somebody's grant to run this organization. We lean on the grace of our board and sweat of our volunteers. So Tawna, you represent the best of our communities. So these and many more of your accomplishments you've done, we want to recognize you as one of our leaders. Please come forward and receive your award.
I'm short too. Thank you so much. I was actually sort of thinking about this, more of that community service award, and just because community service, I mean, I feel like that's what we do, right? If we're not in service of our community and the people that we serve, then what are we doing? Why would we go there? When I ran for the legislature, thank you very much, Promise, one of the very first people that I met with, and actually who pushed a little bit and did tell me he was getting in trouble for it a little bit. But when I first ran for the legislature, we had no idea, we actually didn't think there had ever been a Native person to serve in the Oregon legislature. Turns out there was one. I found out there was one Native person prior to me. Her name was Jackie Taylor. She was Citizen Potawatomi, and she served in the legislature in the mid-90s and represented the Astoria area. That makes me only the second Native American to ever serve in the Oregon legislature. And that makes Anessa Hartman the third. That should say something to us, not just about that, yay, we have a third Native person in the Oregon legislature now, but that we have been here this whole time. And that our voices had not been heard, and that we had not been able to push in the way that was necessary for the tribes to actually advance in the direction that they wanted to. And they've done some amazing work on their own. But the fact that we are able to actually stand in those buildings, in those big halls, and remind people we are here and we are not going anywhere. Thank you.
Thank you. This award got me a little giddy. I got giddy when his name was mentioned, and someone who's been a journalist in Africa and UK and here, I'm always glued to my television. I got so anxious one time I went to his studio and took a picture with him. I don't know if the picture is out, but it's not. I am talking about my main man, Steve Dunn. Give him a round of applause. There are journalists and there are journalists. There are those who carry the toga of journalism for personal aggrandizement. There are those who carry it for community service. And I'm here tonight to proclaim that Steve Dunn has carried his journalistic muscle to make amend, to make our society better, to provide information that are trusted, and to rally us away from our division. And he's simply the best that I've seen in this business, and I have seen a lot. And it is easy to craft these tanks and accolades, but I'm speaking from my heart. I have spent time with Steve. I have talked to him. So when the board suggested that we recognize a journalist and Steve, I said, count me in. So ladies and gentlemen, tonight, help us to celebrate the best of our journalism and the best of our journalists. Ladies and gentlemen, give your right round of applause for our honoree, Steve Dunn.
Thank you, folks, very much. Thank you. Fellow honorees tonight as well. I appreciate that. I really want to hear it. Take a moment to thank Promise and the League of Minority Voters. Honestly, when you think about all that they've done since 2007, when you founded this, they have carved an incredible path that brought us all here tonight. I promise I won't take long. I don't have my teleprompter, so that messes with me every time. Let's hear for Travis as well tonight. Travis? It is, when we talk about everything that this league does, it's up to us as the media to get the word out. That's what it's all about. The representative talked about us being community servants. That's what we are. We're just getting the word out to everyone in as unbiased ways we possibly can on a regular basis. We started something a couple of years ago called Know Your Candidates, and we've interviewed several of you in the room here on this, and it's, yes, exactly. You guys were just there last week, as a matter of fact. 50 plus candidates we have at katu.com, and you can go there, and it's local, it's metro, it's county offices, federal, all of them on there. If you're registered to vote, we'll interview you. We don't care what the pollsters are saying, who's going to win this race. If you're registered, we will interview you. Now, we're all booked up for the primary, but there's the general election. So if there's someone in the room that hasn't been interviewed at katu.com, please come on down and we'll make sure that that happens, because that is our job, is to get the word out, tell folks what you guys are doing. It's not easy being a politician, because I have interviewed a number of you. It really does take a toll on your life and your family, and we appreciate all that you do stepping out there to make this happen. It's all about more inclusive voting process. We know that, right? That's what makes it all go round. So thank you very much. Keep doing what you're doing, the politicians, the folks at the league, and thank you for this honor. I appreciate it very, very much.
You know, Steve is my kind of guy. Aside from being a journalist, he's just so cool. I wish I could be like him when I grow up. I wish I could. Tonight, this is one of, when I came to this, my first job was covering City Hall. And one day, I think it was Vera Carson interview, then I saw this amazing woman. So I asked my colleague, I said, who is that? She walked with the Gale and the grace of a very substantive woman in charge. You can see that her own man was like, I don't care what you think. I am just gonna like, just take all the space. And they said she was Gale Castillo. And I said to myself, I was just 2 months, just get from and finished my journalism degree. In 6 months, I got a job. I was covering the City Hall for the Observer newspapers. And I have been watching Gale. I watched Gale for 10 years. So when I founded the league, she was the first people I called. And she came and gave orders and laid down the orders and the part to take. And I said, I don't know if I can do this. But time and time again, she took Hispanic Chamber of Commerce from one point to another, from one staff to another. She grew the chamber, and my admiration for her never stopped. And I look around our communities, and I said, who is that has been founding things, and have been doing things as a woman of color, and has the best? They said, Gale Castillo. So the board recognized her tonight. Please help us recognize Gale Castillo.
So first of all, thank you so much. Thank you for the recognition, especially among this wonderful group of people. Barbara and I have worked together. We brought together a conference, a national conference, and another governor from another state. And in fact, I've worked with many of you that are in this room. Loretta is another one. We worked together when you were at Wyden's office. So just a little bit about the chamber, because that's what I'm being recognized for tonight, although I'm also, our family owns Canopy, which provides mental health services and wellness services. I have here our family and also members of our board of directors from the Hispanic Chamber. So thank you. We're celebrating our 30th year. So I was 2 when I started the chamber. I'm 32 now. Proud of it. Our vision at that time, again, this is not news to you, but during that time, like now, we were being put down as a community. We're all drug dealers. We're all, undocumented, et cetera. I was born here, et cetera. There are many people. We are here, like you said, and we're here to stay, and we're contributing. But there wasn't much recognition of the fact of what our contributions were. So we wanted to highlight the contributions, and we also wanted to highlight and recognize our young people. So we gave the first year 1 scholarship. Since then, we've given over $3 million in scholarships to students throughout the state and Southwest Washington. We wanted to recognize small business owners that create jobs, pay taxes, buy services and supplies, purchase properties, purchase homes, support their families, support their communities. So we've served over several thousand small businesses to help them start and to expand. The other thing that we've done, we looked around and we knew that there were just like one little supervisor over here, one little manager over there, maybe an assistant vice president at the time. So we wanted to build the capacity of our community. So we started doing leadership training. So I think we're now class 20, and each class is a group of 20 people, and we give them leadership skills and management skills, and we create a cohort to support them. None of this was done in isolation. We are a community, all of us. I look to members of our community to assist us. And to be very honest, the response day one was overwhelming. They said it's about time that you do all the things that you've described, and now we've done it. But we've worked with private sector, we've worked with public sector, other nonprofits, elected officials, asked for their support, and individuals. Where am I going with this? Tonight we're talking about elected officials. There are so many problems, and none of you, whoever's elected, can do it on your own. I think we've made that point tonight, whether you call it bipartisan, whatever. We need to respect women. We need to respect all communities. There are so many problems to attack, so all that I would ask of whoever is elected, please work for the greater good. It's not about any party whatsoever. It's about our community. It's about our national community as well as our local community. So thank you, and I wish you the best, because the challenges that we have in front of us are severe. And the vision that we have in our communities throughout our country, and of course we know internationally there are issues which were reflected locally, are tremendous. So all I ask is please work with your colleagues, whoever they are, and please solve the problems for the greater good of the community, not just your party. Thank you so much.
I hope we don't bore you, but give it up for my dear sister Gale Castillo. Someone tonight who's the next, really, we're here because the vision of bipartisanship is what we have carried to all of the states we are in. We are in 12 states now. We just have our bipartisan happy hour in DC. We created that because we bring Democrats and Republican Congress people together to just have a beer without all of the complexity of policy conversation, dialogue. We have been doing that so we can reach deep into the humanity and they can see that we are not far apart. And we look around Oregon and we said, who can best represent that, who have been intentional in bringing folks together across the board. Aside from the league, there are humans, there are leaders who have done that. Tonight, we have Tom Hoffert, and we feel that according to our board and according to his accomplishment, his relationship, he has exemplified that spirit of bipartisanship. So, Tom, on behalf of the board, please accept our bipartisan award. Thank you.
Well, it is a great honor for me to share a little bit of time with all of you tonight. I'm obviously very humbled to be sitting at a table with such incredible leaders, people who, like me, love this state. And in my role at the Salem Chamber, we have a saying. At the Salem Chamber, we believe in helping businesses prosper so our entire community may thrive. Chambers of Commerce are your small business engine. We're not filled with your Amazons and Applebee's and Best Buys of the world. We're filled with the individuals who are taking risks each day as entrepreneurs to create paychecks for Oregonians. And for them, bold leadership is sometimes knowing less is coming home with me, so the people that need it in my staff teams, need it in our places of business, may have dignity and know that they are very valued. I'm a product of two public school teachers. My beautiful mother, Nancy, is here, my father, Pete. but I also had two grandfathers that were entrepreneurs. Remember being 14 and, oh yeah. I remember at a young age stocking my grandfather's sporting goods store with socks, and he'd be up above and he knew if I missed one. And he'd go, "You missed one in row 3 there." And it's very interesting to grow up in a culture that believes in the small business mechanism. And I would encourage all of you, I applaud you willing to run for office and those who appeared in front of us tonight, to remember that the small business engine is your neighbor. They're people who care very deeply for the state they're in, because believe it or not, this is one of the more challenging states to do business in. And so if you choose Oregon, like all of us have, it creates an incredible ability to not look at party lines, but rather align for what we love and care about, and that is our neighbor and having healthy communities. We are facing a number of very challenging situations across Oregon. And so I would challenge you as future political leaders to please understand your constituency and not worry about the party, but rather the person and the message that they are sharing, so we can build a stronger Oregon in the future. I want to thank all of you for this opportunity to be recognized tonight. Dr. Bud Pierce is an incredible individual who's done wonderful things. One of the board members, Jonathan Castro Monroy, is doing big things in communities. And organizations like the Salem Chamber want to see people do great things. Let's lift up our neighbors, partner with more people, and worry a little bit less about the R and the D, and a lot more for what's right for this state. Thank you all for your time this evening.
What time it is? I asked somebody, they said it's 4 p.m. 4 p.m. is what the time they said it is right now. Check your time. Is it 4 p.m.? Okay. We're running a little bit 6 minutes above, but before I hand over the microphone to our co-chair, Jennifer Wiggers, I want to tell you incredible individual who made this happen. People ask me, how do you do this? How much? I said, we don't get a lot, because when you're not in the 5 fridges, you don't belong, you're independent, you're not going to get resources. So thank goodness I have a family who's behind me, who's supporting me, and I also have friends who believe in the vision and the mission of the league. So we're fine. But what is more important is the spirit of volunteers who come day in, day out. I give you an example. There are 2 couples here who came to volunteer. Today is their 26th wedding anniversary. They won't be taking your pictures. They gave up their anniversary because they so believe in the vision and the mission. So what are you talking about? There is another person today who stands behind that video, who we're not paying him. He called, he said he wants to help videotape this organization. Mike, stand up. Mike is running for city council. He said, promise, I'm going to cancel my campaign, knocking on doors today to come and help out. That's Mike. So we're not going anywhere. We're not, you can't pull us to those fridges that hasn't worked for years. You can't do that. Because we have people like Mike, we have people who are really coming to support us. So if you deny us, you only deny yourself. Because we believe when we build for our state, we build for our nation, we build for our community. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I'm going to bring my boss and our co-chair for the state, Jennifer Wiggins, to close us out. Thank you.
I don't think I would pity the person who would have to actually keep control of you, promise, because he has so much energy. I just wanted to say thank you one more time, and I wanted to tell you something really incredible. This group of folks raised $8,855. Thank you, and next year we'll show you the pictures of all the students that you helped, and you can feel really good that it's going to start tomorrow with our new cohort of students. So feel really good about what you did, and thank you for taking the time to become educated and honoring these amazing people. And again, we hope to see you next year, and we only were 10 minutes over. I apologize. You take care.
Kiyoshi, please stand up. She's one of our dynamic, and Debbie and all the volunteers. Sorry, I almost forgot. Please, you do the work. Have a good night. To every one of our friends, thank you for your contribution. Thank you to all the honorees.
Perfect.